Hey guys, so sorry it's been a little while since I've made a video. I've just been healing from surgery. Hold on, let me vibrate or at least silent my phone so that way you won't hear all that in the background. I apologize, but yeah, so I'm going to be making two videos. One was my surgery and hospital experience, and then the next video will be talking about my first post-op appointment. That way the video won't be too long. So for now, surgery. So in case you don't follow me on Instagram, which is just a little fluffy, I'll put that in the description. But yeah, you can follow me there for updates on my weight loss and stuff like that if you like. But yeah, so my surgery was originally supposed to be May 18th, but the day before they called something to do with my insurance. Like a lady left and they had to get the papers again and get reapproved again. So I had to wait a whole nother week. And because of that, because for those 2 weeks I was on a liquid diet, I was on that protein shake stuff. So then they didn't want me to do that anymore. They wanted me to go ahead and eat solids, just, be careful. And I was always careful. Still stick to my diet, even though I was able to eat solids again. But, I just had the healthier versions of food. So yeah. And then the day before my surgery, which was the 25th, May 25th, the day before, I was able to eat breakfast. As long as it was before 9, and I had a pancake with scrambled eggs and turkey sausage, which is so good. I love the turkey sausage patties. They are so delicious. I can't wait to eat them again. But yeah, they're so good. But anyways, so I had that for my breakfast, as well as a small cup of fat-free skim milk. And then after 9 a.m., then I had to be on a clear liquid diet. So like apple juice, water, sugar-free popsicles, broth. But I didn't like the broth at all. The broth to me just tasted nasty for some reason. So I mostly just had like water and juice and sugar-free popsicles. So that was it, because I'm not much of a Jello person. So yeah, so I had that, and then I had to call the hospital around like 2 p.m. To see my surgery time, and they told me to be there by 5:30, and that surgery would be at 7:45. But surgery was at like 7:15, so yeah, it didn't take too long. I'm not sure how long the surgery actually lasted. It lasted more than an hour, I know that. But it wasn't like forever, but it was like longer than an hour. But I'm not exactly sure how long. But yeah, so we get to the hospital, where my surgery was supposed to be at. Get signed in and stuff. Wait. I didn't wait too long. Just waited for a little bit. And then they sent me to a room where I got dressed into a hospital gown with nothing underneath, not even underwear. And they gave me a bag to put like my shoes and my clothes in and stuff. And they told me to wear, or at least bring whenever I leave the hospital, like some kind of like stretchy pants and a loose shirt. Because, stomach. So yeah. And after I got into the hospital gown, they did their vitals with me, checked my blood pressure, all that jazz. Took some blood work because they needed to test for pregnancy, even though I knew for sure I wasn't pregnant. I haven't had haven't done anything in over a year, so. But they still needed to check just to be sure, so they did blood work, and of course it came back negative, which I knew that. But it's just precaution. They have to do that for the females. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, the night before, you're not allowed to drink anything, not even water, after midnight. So, yeah. But yeah, so after that, What else did they do to me? Oh, they gave me my IV in my hand. And some nurses came to talk to me, and I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, they just did like the whole. Oh, and they gave me a shot, which is for blood thinners. So they gave me that. And then my mom came in, and I talked to her for a little bit, and then it was time for me to not see her until after surgery. So we said our goodbyes, and they wheeled me into like this room with other patients there, getting ready for surgery and stuff. And I remember laying there being scared shitless, and they gave me like the little hospital hat, and the male nurse was super, super nice. He called it the party hat. And he said, don't worry, we're going to get you some good juice, and you're just going to be having a party and having a blast. I'm like, I like this guy. He's so cool. So, yeah. And then my surgeon came in to talk to me, make sure everything was going good, make sure, I was feeling comfortable and all that. So that was nice. And then the anesthesiologist came in, asked her questions, mostly about, like, if I've ever had anesthesia before and how it went, and if I had any questions about it, stuff like that. So yeah, and then I waited there. It seemed like an eternity. And then finally it was time. So they wheeled me over to the into the actual surgery room, I guess you call it that. And I remember like being so nervous, and then they gave me my anesthesia through my IV. And before I knew it, I was asleep, and before I knew it, I was awake. The last thing I remember is just laying there in the bed, and I can see like those big old bright lights that they will end up using during the procedure. But I remember just seeing them. I mean, those lights weren't on yet, obviously, because they were waiting for me to go to sleep for the anesthesia to kick in. But yeah, before I knew it, like, I was waking up and my stomach was hurting. I'm like, oh, the surgery's over. And I'm in pain. No, I'm not ready for this. But yeah, it was really weird. And I ended up having a panic attack for some reason, because I think it's because my throat was so dry, so it made it seem like I couldn't breathe that well. Because obviously when you have surgery, they put a breathing tube. And so I guess because of that, it made my throat like super, super dry. And I was like freaking out, and I kept saying how I couldn't breathe, and they're like, oh, you're breathing fine, and like and so they gave me anxiety meds to help calm me down, and it did. So I was better after that. So after that, they wheeled me into my hospital room, which was nice. It was like a beige brown colored room. At least it wasn't all white. So, and I was just in and out of consciousness. I was sleeping off and on. We'll just say it like that. Yeah, so obviously my mom came in, and Joyce, who is like my godmother basically, and my brother, they came in, but I really couldn't talk or anything. I was just in and out of sleep. I was sleeping off and on pretty much the whole day, and while I was asleep, or at least like right after surgery, before I woke up from the anesthesia, they put like this little thing inside me, it basically into my bladder, because I knew I wouldn't be able to get up like that whole first day. So they so they had to like clean or empty it every once in a while. So yeah. And then I think on day 2 they pulled it out, which didn't hurt. It didn't hurt at all. It felt a little weird, but it didn't hurt or anything, so it was fine. And then I got up. She made me get up for to get washed up, which is where I just sit on the toilet butt naked, and she washed me, and it just felt very uncomfortable at first. But she was super nice, so she made me feel comfortable, so it wasn't that bad, but it was still just a little bit like, ugh. But it felt good to get like washed up and get all that orange shit that was on my stomach off. So yeah, so after that, I got dressed back into my hospital gown and back into the socks that they gave me. And then I went to excuse me. And then I sat down at a chair for breakfast, which all the meals are basically the same thing. They gave me broth, and it was either vegetable or chicken or beef. And surprisingly, I like the vegetable and the beef broth better than the chicken broth. Weird, because I always used to love chicken. But yeah, so I had that, and then they always serve Jello, whether it's red Jello or green Jello, or lime, whatever. But I didn't really eat the Jello because not only do I not like Jello, but I just couldn't really it just wasn't sitting right, so I didn't bother having it. So yeah, broth, Jello, oh, and juice, diluted, so either apple juice or grape juice. And then of course they always had a cup of chipped ice and water, so yeah. And they also had these cups, which I ended up taking some of them. These are the cups that they came in, and it's cool because it has like the measurements. So yep, it's not gonna focus, is it? But you can see it. Oh, there it goes, sort of. But yeah, I have water in it already. So yeah, and then also I had this at the hospital, and they also gave it to me, but I didn't know I was supposed to take it home, so Mom ended up going back to the hospital to get it. But it's this thing called Air Life, and basically you just suck in air, and that goes up. So like, so I had to do that like 5 times. So yeah, they did that because of my stomach hurting so much. It was actually hard to take a deep breath, so they made me use that as often as possible, so I wouldn't get pneumonia. So yeah, and they also put like this thing around my legs that like squeezes my legs sometimes, and that was for like blood circulation or whatever. So yeah, so I wouldn't get blood clots while I was laying there. So yeah, but that first time when I got up was horrible because that nurse that was like supposed to be there, she was supposed to come back after I was done eating, drinking, that is. She was supposed to come back, and then she was supposed to go with me for a walk in the hallway and then help me get back into bed. But she never came back, and I waited and I waited, and I was so exhausted. I ended up like taking a pillow and like sleeping like this, like sitting up, and it was so painful, especially for my stomach. I was like, where's the damn nurse? And it got to the point where I was in so much pain and I felt nauseous, and all I wanted to do was get this walk over with so I can lay down. And I wasn't sure if I was supposed to do it by myself, and I was afraid to do it by myself at first. So I ended up calling a nurse, and the male nurse came and he walked with me down the hallway and back and helped me into bed. So, because it was really hard getting in and out of that bed. Oh my god. Especially since those beds were new. Not only are they higher up, but like, I don't know, like it was just really, really hard. I mean, I struggled and I was in so much pain every time I got in and out of the bed. Oh, it was tragic. It was terrible. Yeah, and then by the time the nurse came in, she's like, oh, sorry, I saw you were sleeping. I didn't want to disturb you. I'm like, I don't care. Wake me up so I can go for a walk and get back into bed, and then I can go back to sleep. I was so uncomfortable for like an hour or more. I was like, come on. But yeah, so that happened. And that's basically it. I mean, that's just what happened. And Mom only worked a half day that Friday because my surgery was on a Thursday, I think. Yeah. May 25th. I think that was a Thursday. Yeah. So Mom only worked a half day, so she came and she stayed until like, at nighttime, and then in fact it was weird because on Friday they said the surgeon came to talk to me and make sure how I was feeling and stuff, and he said I could actually go home Friday if I wanted to, but for me I felt like it would be too soon, so I decided to stay until Saturday. And it's weird because usually it's like, yes, take me home, but I just wanted to, yeah. And what's funny is that they told me to bring my CPAP machine because, I have sleep apnea. But they ended up just using the oxygen that they put under my nose, and they said I was breathing fine with that, so I didn't even need to use my CPAP machine. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, and that's basically what happened. Like, just getting up for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, walking, getting back to bed, or getting up to pee, and walking, and then going back into bed, sleeping off and on. And yeah, that's basically it. They just would come really, really late or in the middle of the night to check my vitals. So yeah, I only had a little bit of a fever, which I could tell because I felt super hot. I didn't even want to cover up. So, but after that, then my temperature went back to normal. And yeah, by Saturday at that early, well, not early morning, but like late morning, I was able to go home. I signed papers and I got dressed into clothes. My mom helped me put on my shoes because it was raining that day, so everything was wet, so she didn't want me to wear flip-flops. And then the nurse came in and and that day she taught me how to give myself the shot, because 10 days after you are released from the hospital, you're supposed to give yourself a shot in the stomach. It's blood thinners for 10 days. So she taught me how to do that. And then while my mom was getting the car, the nurse put me in a wheelchair and she wheeled me out to the car, and mom gave me a pillow to hold on, against my stomach on the ride home. And yeah, I came home and I basically rest on mom's bed. And I just had my liquid diet, and it was hard for me to really drink anything though, especially protein shakes. It was really hard for me to drink protein shakes after the 4 days because I just didn't want it. I couldn't drink it until after a few more days. But then after that, I think that's why I didn't heal as quickly as I wanted to. Like, some people say they healed around a week is when the pain stopped, but mine was a little over a week. Like, it was still hard to get up and down. It was still hard to walk. I was still walking like a hunchback. So it made my back hurt every time I tried to walk. But and I just used that breathing thing as much as I could. And yeah, that was basically it. Not much really to say when it comes to the hospital. So yep. So that's what that happened. So that's the end of this video, and stay tuned for the upcoming video of when I talk about my post-op and then my phase 2. So yeah, bye guys.